Gospel of Matthew, chapter 2, verses 1 through 12. In the time of King Herod, after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, wise men from the east came to Jerusalem, asking, "Where is the child who has been born King of the Jews? For we have observed his star at its rising, and we have come to pay him homage." When King Herod heard this, he was frightened, and all Jerusalem with him. And calling together all the chief priests and scribes of the people, he inquired of them where the Messiah was to be born. They told him, "In Bethlehem of Judea, for so it has been written by the prophet. And you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah, for from you shall come a ruler who is to shepherd my people, Israel." Then Herod secretly called for the wise men and learned from them the exact time when the star had appeared. Then he sent them to Bethlehem, saying, "Go and search diligently for the child, and when you have found him, bring me word, so that I may also go and pay him homage." When they had heard the king, they set out, and there ahead of them went the star that they had seen at its rising, until it stopped over the place where the child was. When they saw that the star had stopped, they were overwhelmed with joy. On entering the house, they saw the child with Mary his mother, and they knelt down and paid him homage. Then, opening their treasure chests, they offered him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And having been warned in a dream not to return to Herod, they left for their own country by another road. This is the word of God for the people of God.
Thanks be to God.
Any of you ever watch home improvement shows? Yeah? No? Some yes, some no. I do. I've enjoyed them for quite some time. My earliest memory of watching these shows was with my mother when I was a child. We would watch shows like This Old House, Trading Spaces, things like that. But there's more current popular shows as well. Some of them are called Rehab Addict, Love It or List It, Flip or Flop. But my favorite, and I think probably my wife would agree, is Fixer Upper. I love watching Chip and Joanna Gaines. Not only do they do some pretty amazing stuff with homes that are in bad repair, but Chip cracks me up through the whole episode of that show. He's just a goofball, and that's all there is to it. But I really love watching these shows. I'm not sure why, because, I'm not what you would probably call the handiest of people, but I enjoy watching people who know what they're doing. Maybe it's because we see the home what it was, and we get to see this process of what they're doing, and then there's this big reveal, right, at the end. And you get to see someone's creative nature and something come to fruition. Once was not so great, becomes pretty amazing. I do really love watching these type of shows. I think I heard the word reveal first used as a noun years ago in a show called Trading Spaces. The climax of the show was the reveal. The climax of the show was the reveal. Or the tour by the homeowners and the cameras of the finished space after the renovation was completed. Everything that had happened in the show before this moment helps the viewer to anticipate but not quite envision the whole thing or the full picture until the show is finished with the big reveal. I love that. We get glimpses of what we think it might be, but we don't know fully until the end. So if we want to cop this idea of the reveal and apply it to the Christian faith in terms of the person of Jesus Christ, well, we might point to Epiphany Sunday, which is today. The Epiphany Sunday, right here, right now, is today. As well, perhaps, as Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. But for today, we're going to look at Epiphany. We might point to Epiphany Sunday as the climactic moment of the annual Advent Christmas Epiphany cycle. This is the climactic moment of that. For even though the story of the Magi or the wise men following the star to pay homage to the child Jesus may not at first glance seem like the first moment in which we see the reveal, that is exactly what it is. We read the story, and sometimes we don't see the exact moment everything is revealed. Why? Because the reveal in this high, holy season, brace yourselves, is not the birth of Jesus, but it is the confirmation of Jesus' true identity. Jesus' true identity. In the past, when I've read this scripture, and I've done this for many years, before I was a pastor, I would go and I would read this story, and I would go to Epiphany Sunday, and I would hear the story of the wise men and the magi, and I've taught on this, and I've done all these things. But in the past, I've been at various times focused on different things. First, the professions of the magi, right? Or the science of the star. I did some astrology work and tried to figure this out for myself. Or the purpose of the dream that they had, or Herod's strange behavior, or the gifts. We've all heard sermons given on the gifts of the Magi. But this time around, what I wanted to do is kind of focus on the response of the Magi, how the Magi responded in this story. From the text, we know that these men from the east observed a star rising in the sky. They knew that this star signaled the birth of a king, and not just any king, but specifically the king of the Jews. Specifically the king of the Jews. I don't know how they do this. I don't know how. We can read speculations from scholars and experts and on all these subjects, and we can mine the history of astrology. We can explain it as the work of hindsight on the part of the author, which is Matthew's gospel. We can attribute it to science or prophecy or Eastern religion. But the fact is, we don't know exactly how they knew. We know only that Matthew tells us they saw a star rising in the sky. They hit the road for Jerusalem, bearing gifts to pay homage to the newly born king of the Jews. They saw a star and they hit the road, bearing gifts to pay homage to the newly born king of the Jews. Likewise, we don't know how they made a detour, why they made a detour to inform Herod about their actions. All we know is that they did this, and the news frightened not only Herod, but all of Israel. So that Herod called all of his experts together to gather information on exactly who this child was and what his birth might mean for his kingdom. And after he had consulted his own experts, he summoned the Magi back for a second conversation, presumably so that he could compare the information he had received from his own people to the information being provided by these outsiders. He then told the Magi an outright lie. We know this part of the story. He sent them forth to visit the child with instructions to let him know exactly where the baby was located so that he too could go and pay homage to the newborn king. Herod had other ideas. And so the men continued on their way to Bethlehem, following the star to the exact spot where the baby lay. Matthew tells us when they entered the house where Jesus and his family were staying, they were overwhelmed with joy. Overwhelmed with joy. They knelt before him and presented him with gifts. After the visit, they left for their own country by another road. Again, we don't know why. We can conclude from the story that they took a different route in order to protect the child from Herod. But Matthew doesn't say that directly. All he says is that they were warned in a dream not to return to Herod. And just like Joseph in the story from an earlier chapter, they acted on that dream as if it were real. So that's all we really know. These are the hints, the clues, the glimpses into the meaning of the visit of the Magi from the east. question is, what is the big reveal offered by way of this story? What's the big reveal offered in this story? What picture of completion does it provide for the readers of Matthew's Gospel? What does it tell us about who Jesus really is? I think that in the same way the design details in a renovation project either make or break it, so the powerful verbs in this passage are what make the big reveal in this story. Here they are. Observed. Came. Pay homage. Frighten. Search. Find. Set out. Stopped. Knelt. Offered. Warned. Left. These strong action words reveal a direct progression from belief and action to confirmation and response. Belief and action to confirmation and response. Although the Magi follow a completely different belief system from that of the family of Jesus or even the people of Herod's empire, the signs they see through the window of their own religious worldview compel them to respond to the beliefs of this other faith tradition. They respond. Not only that, they see in this other religious tradition that in this child, the divine is not just present, but powerful. Seeing Jesus for themselves not only confirms that he is indeed the one of whom the prophets spoke, but that the sign they read in the sky had led them to something very real and something very joyful. Very joyful. They experience the divine presence and power personally for themselves. And they respond by doing what? Kneeling before him. And what is that? Well, it's essentially worship. The response is worship. And so we have some questions we can ask ourselves with this story. What has happened in your life that led to the big reveal that Jesus Christ was your Lord and Savior? Do you have an answer to that question? What has happened in your life? A lot like the renovation TV shows. What has happened? What are the little things that have happened in your life that led to the big reveal that Jesus Christ is your Lord and Savior? You have an answer. How can you help people from other belief systems, especially those who have rejected organized religion in general or Christianity in particular? How can you help them to experience a reveal that confirms for them that Jesus Christ is Lord? How can you reveal Jesus to these seekers in the style they prefer? The language they use and the authentic respect for their present belief system, no matter what it is. Maybe I could dab more during my sermons. I don't know. But what are ways we can do this? How can we present this to as many people as we can? What signs from around the world, from around your world, can you point to that reveal the presence and the power of Jesus Christ at work? And that might lead others to act in response to the beliefs of Christian faith. What are things that you can see in your every single day life, in everyday life, what are things that you can see and you can point to that reveal Christ to you and share that with someone else that they might also see Christ as Lord? So why is this wise men visit the big reveal What good news does it proclaim? It is a public acknowledgement of those who are very much outsiders that Jesus is Lord. It is a confirmation that all the earth must bow down to him. It is a confirmation that the heavens cooperate to identify him. It is confirmation that religious leaders from other lands not only recognize him as King of the Jews, but respond to him as a divine presence in the world. It is confirmation that his power frightens those in worldly power. Jesus can be revealed as Lord to leaders from another religious tradition, then the lordship of Jesus can be revealed to anyone in the whole world. It can be revealed to anyone in the whole world. So what is our response going to be to the good news that Jesus is King? What's going to be our response? How will we respond? How have our lives been changed? And how are our lives still being transformed by the big reveal that Jesus Christ is Lord? I'm a firm believer that every person has their own personal faith story. How they came to know Jesus as their Lord and Savior. Every person has that. And your story might be just the story that someone who does not know Jesus needs to hear. Yours might be the one that tugs on heartstrings. Are we sharing how our lives have been changed? And how they're still being transformed through Christ? Today really leads into where we're going. Where we're going. I mentioned the insert of things that we're going to be doing in the next few weeks, and the whole series title is called The Great Invitation. The Great Invitation. You see, having revealed that Jesus Christ is Lord today, over the next 8 weeks we will begin living into this new reality of Jesus' Lordship as we invite others to come and see this man we call our Savior. This series will be focused on introducing Jesus to people who do not yet know him, or reintroduce him to people who have known him in the past, but in recent years have fallen away from a relationship with him. I, the church, we hope that you will use this series as an evangelistic effort. I know I said the word evangelism, but that's what we're in the business of, friends and family. We're in that business. We hope that we can use this as an evangelistic effort to start this new year, to start 2017. I want to strongly encourage everyone in this congregation to invite someone that they know who does not have a church home yet to come and see. To come and see the Jesus that drew the first disciples to him. To come and see what his early ministry was all about. These next 8 weeks are so essential to have someone who might be questioning about who this Jesus guy is, because we're going to really dive into who he is. We're going to dive into it. This is the time in Jesus' life when all manner of people flocked to hear his teaching and experience or witness His healing power. What better time to invite someone who does not have a church home to experience and see who this Jesus is. So I'm going to do everything I can. I'm coming with my A game. I'm going to try to put together sermons as much as I can. I'm going to try to talk to people in the community and figure out if they have a church home or not. If they don't, I'm going to invite them. If they do, I'm going to say, God bless you. I hope everything goes well in your church home. But I can't do it alone. I'm going to need everyone else to bring their A game as well. Find someone who doesn't have a church home. Find someone who used to come and has fallen away and might need a reminder of how much God loves them. It's your responsibility as well as it is mine. And so let's make what has been revealed to us on this day, that Jesus Christ is Lord. Means something not only to us, but to all the people in our lives. May we share our faith stories, our own personal stories, that those who have ears may hear the good news of Jesus Christ.